As most of y'all know, the original use of this channel was to actually get me into comics, like heavily reading more and more comics. Now, I will say I did start reading a comic here and there, but I wasn't making content on them. And I'm super inconsistent with, talking about various comics. But one thing that I completely forgot about, and one kind of comic series that I really wanted to get into, obviously was the Absolute Universe, which I was keeping up with for the most part. But one literal person, one superhero that I forgot was coming out, and honestly I'm months late on this, is Absolute Flash. And after reading just the first issue, I could already tell that he proves my point that being a speedster is really far from really far from good at the end of the day. Now, I know some of you are probably like, nah, there's perks to being a speedster and all that stuff. And I agree. Hey, there are definitely perks, right? There are definitely quite a few various perks that go into being a speedster, but honestly, there are a lot of downsides as well, and Absolute Flash really shows this. So we're gonna do like a pseudo breakdown of the first issue of Absolute Flash, extremely late obviously compared to I'm sure everyone else's, but I want to talk about it anyways because it's my own thing. This is our own kind of community, so maybe you guys don't really dive into comics either, or maybe some of you are super interested in them and like super on it all the time, and you guys just want to hear me yap about Absolute Flash for the next, I don't know, 15-20 minutes. Now, for starters, we start one of the very first pages is literally him just tripping out. And by the way, this is Wally West. This is not Barry Allen. So I know a lot of people love Wally West, including me. I love Wally West. So this is a definite W perk in terms of what this is going to be for the Absolute Universe. Now, he's like tripping out. He's thinking that he's messed up, that something went wrong. He's yapping and saying all this crazy stuff. He's like, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? He's saying all of these things. He's talking about how he messed up so much that he's ruined literally everything. And he should have just kept running when they found out, and blah blah blah, all this crazy random stuff. Obviously we have no idea what he's even talking about, and then it even leads to him kind of showing this pain going on, this kind of face or this kind of figment in the background screaming in agony, and you can see the word no multiple times plastered across a little part of this of kind of like the page. And then out of nowhere, right, we just skip, boom, and we're out of there. Like, we went from going crazy and insanity to all this stuff, and him saying, I'm just going too fast. I just need to breathe. Breathe, Wally. Just like she taught you, breathe. Slow it down. Slow it down. And as this happens, we see that it says 2 days ago, and he seems somewhat confused, like he's walking somewhere, or he is somewhere to a certain extent. Now, he basically talks like, he's like, you know where you are, right? You know who you are. You're Wally West. You're 15 years old. And this did kind of throw me off initially, excuse me. Because it's like, did he just like go back in time? Is this kind of coinciding with each other? I'm obviously not 100% sure about this, but it does say 2 days ago, and then it kind of has him walking in the rain, and he's walking by these people that are just at this like quick bites place, or maybe like it's like a liquor store or a gas station, and he's just walking by them like he's completely alone, all this stuff, and he's not even thinking about what these people are doing, which kind of shows how much of a loner Wally West is, or this version of Wally West is, kind of going into the idea of this is just another thing that this Flash is going to have to deal with, being alone, because that's literally what he's dealing with at the moment. Maybe that will change, maybe that won't. I don't really know, because I've only read the first issue. But as we continue on, he heads back to a military base. Now, obviously, you get the whole shtick of, oh, this is a restricted area, you can't come in here. But then guess who we meet? We actually meet Barry Allen, obviously Dr. Allen, and they do talk a little bit. Obviously, the guards are telling him like, yeah, your father or your dad, if he catches you out this late, he ain't gonna be too happy. But eventually Barry takes Wally and says, you know what, I want to show you some cool stuff, right? I want to show you some dope things that you can check out, and I want to just, you know, show you what we've been working on. And all of this is like military grade classified stuff. It's pretty interesting for the most part. He's kind of explaining his work to a certain degree, obviously not being able to tell him everything, right? You can't literally tell him everything, but he tells him that this is Project Olympus, and he explains a couple things that they're doing here, and you can tell Wally is somewhat interested, but honestly it's probably mostly because Wally literally is like locked away for the most part. He doesn't have friends, he doesn't do anything, he's so bored, he's just not interested, or nothing really happening is even interesting to a large extent. So seeing all this, I mean, this is pretty cool to him, right? This is like, oh, this is super interesting. And Barry even says like that he's glad he ran into him because he's a smart kid, and he doesn't want him to be stuck just sitting around in the barracks and whatever, and he doesn't want him just going to like this embarrassment they call a school, because he believes, I mean, obviously the school just isn't to the suited needs of someone like Wally West, who's an intelligent kid. And he talks about Barry talks to Wally about maybe getting him to, you know, work or help or intern kind of down here, work on some stuff. And he says, oh, he could try to pull some strings and talk to his dad. But even Wally knows, like, that's not going to go well. And we see exactly why, because Wally's dad pulls up and he is pissed. Like, he's like, what the hell are you doing down here? Why aren't you in bed? They called me, told me you were sneaking back in, and saying like, oh, like you were probably running around with your friends and stuff like this. And this kind of shows that immediately Wally's father just doesn't understand Wally like at all. And I know that's like a teenager thing, but this is like the definition of not understanding your kid. You're working so much that you don't even know this kid doesn't have friends. He literally goes out just to walk around the town because it's better than just sitting in the barracks. Like, that's kind of sad in a way, right? And they do reconcile a little bit, like a tiny bit coming up here. But yeah, obviously Barry and his father, or Barry and Wally's father, excuse me, or the colonel, obviously has a bit of a conversation about basically what's going on and just really how the kid wants to do something, right? Like, he's telling his dad, like, be compassionate, right? He's telling Wally's father, be compassionate about the situation. And basically his father is like, or Wally's father, or Rudy, or the colonel, whatever you want to call him, he's like, nah, like, mind your damn business, like, get out of here. And he obviously sends Wally home and all that stuff. And then we eventually get to like a flash forward once again, or to the, technically it's really, this is the present, and he's kind of talking to himself. He's saying like, should have never gone with Barry, should have stayed with my dad, should have just ran when I had the chance, never looked back, just be on my own where I can't hurt anyone. And he's saying these things, and I'm thinking he probably and most likely has his powers at this point. It's probably an earlier version of him, obviously, right? But he definitely has his powers at this point, and it kind of adds to the fact that, I mean, obviously he's thinking these things, but with his speedster powers, he's probably thinking about these things tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold, about really kind of questioning his own mistakes, questioning every decision he's ever made, and doing that as a speedster because of the way your mind works, how fast it flares up, and how fast like you can think about these certain events. It's definitely messing with him. It's definitely messing with his head massively. And eventually we get a vehicle showing up. A vehicle kind of pulls up and is basically headed towards him. And initially he's thinking, oh, is that like my dad or something? Like, what's going on? But it's actually not. And it immediately attacks Wally. And Wally goes running through a cave. And it seems like there are actually people there that we will recognize. And those people are actually the rogues. Those rogues are Captain Cold, Boomerang, Trickster, and Golden Glider. And this obviously is pretty damn cool to see that they're here. But it is a young Wally West running away from these rogues. And he even eventually questions, like, are these like the people, did my dad really send them after me? Like, what is even going on? And then immediately you can see that whatever's going on with Wally, the speedster powers or whatever is happening, it kind of jolts through him, and he's like, how could he do that, right? And then it's jolting through him, and he goes through pain once again, and then he's back 1 day ago. So back to the day after he got in trouble with his father. But it's interesting because it seems as if he's remembering these as like memories, or he's reliving these memories, because you get this like weird effect with the electricity and this like speedster electricity, and it shoots him back in, and his eyes widen, and then he goes 1 day ago, as if he's remembering things at a different level. Well, as if the speedster powers he has are allowing him to remember things at a different level. Now, I could be totally wrong about that, by the way, and that's fine. This is just my thoughts throughout while I was even reading this in the first place. It seems like he's remembering things at a different level. Another thing that kind of shows you why speedster kind of powers could be, in a way, a curse, right, to a degree. But let's get back into what's going on. Obviously, it's 1 day ago once again, and we have his dad walk in. He asks him, like, are you okay? And Wally's like, Dad, like, what's even going on? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine, like, whatever, like. And he says, look, like, I just wanted to talk about last night and this and that. And it's a very normal conversation, and you can tell that Wally's father isn't necessarily a bad guy, but he must be worried about something else, right? He must be worried about something deeper that is happening with whatever they're doing here. And it's pretty obvious because he even blatantly says it. He says, like, the work they're doing here is dangerous, Wally, right? Like, I need to be here, right? But I also need to keep you safe. And it makes you question, like, what's so dangerous about the work that you're doing here? We haven't really seen anything crazy dangerous, and maybe he just doesn't want his son near it on the off chance that it could somehow hurt him, right? It could somehow end him, kill him, whatever you want to call it. Maybe that's why he's doing the things, and that's why he's acting the way he's acting. But Wally's like, I don't want to hear this. Like, are you serious? Like, you drag me across the country. You tell me, oh, that you need to be here. Like, but what about me? And all his father can say is, well, this is my job, son. Like, that's it. And he's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, sit in my room all day? Like, what am I going to do? And he's like, at least Barry showed interest in me, saw potential in me. And then obviously his father shuts this down. He's like, don't ever be around Barry ever again. Like, you understand me? And obviously Wally hits him with the, like, yes, sir, like, all sarcastically. But it seems like his father is covering something up. Now, it's either that Barry's a bad guy, or Barry, maybe in this universe, doesn't really understand the horrendous things that are actually going on within whatever company, military works they are currently doing. And he's more like this, like, person that is just excited to do his work, right? Which is very Barry Allen-like. So it wouldn't surprise me if Barry doesn't really know the nuances of what's really happening. So when he's trying to get Wally into it as well, Wally father's like, hell no, you are not going to get him into this. And we're going to see why he didn't want Wally anywhere near it very, very soon. Because before you know it, the first place Wally goes is to go see Barry. And he sees some weird stuff within this place. A monkey with, like, you know, his brain all messed up and all screaming and screeching. And then he hears Barry. Barry? Like, what's going on? And then out of nowhere, this crazy thing is going on. This huge, like, area of, like, this electricity and energy just warping around. And Barry yells and he goes, Wally, get away, son. Go, go, go. Telling him to run away. And he goes, Barry? And then out of nowhere, we get back exactly to the present once again, leaving off kind of like where we most likely could assume he's gonna get his powers. And obviously Wally continues running through the cave, trying to escape the rogues, thinking about what happened that day once again. And he's kind of thinking to himself, like, calm down, breathe, Wally, right? Breathe. He's thinking about these things. He's like, no, like, you've messed everything up. This is all your fault. Literally all of these kind of ideas flooding through his brain so quickly. And this is another thing that I was talking about. The speedster brain is so interesting, but to an extent is so cursed. He's trying to calm himself down. He is trying to get himself to take a breath, relax, but everything is flaring. Everything is going off so quickly that he's like, no, like, I messed everything up. This is all your fault. Wally, you can run all you want. It will never be far enough. You know what you did. And it kind of gives us a bit of a flash of, like, what's happening or what happened in the past, seeing kind of different aspects of what was happening to Wally and also Barry during this time. And then eventually you see it, Wally curled up in kind of like a rubble corner, like a corner area, and it's right there. You see Barry Allen on the ground, completely skeletalized, or like looking like a skeleton. And this right here was shocking. I was like, oh my goodness, this is not what I expected to happen. I did not expect Barry to kick the bucket like this, but this is a pretty good, crazy idea. And this definitely made me think about, like, yeah, so Speedster curse is definitely real, and there's no way around it, right? People around you die, and I know that is an eventual thing for superheroes, but oh my goodness, like, dude just got his powers, and I don't know exactly how it occurred or ensued fully, but it still led to the death of somebody, obviously, that was good. And you can see his little name tag to confirm that it's Barry Allen. And he literally says it. You did this, Wally. You killed him. And this is a pretty harsh, like, reality of what things could happen when you're around a speedster. And this is a Wally that really wasn't even a speedster very long. We're talking days, right? And this is then we lead to a flash forward, and we go 1 year later. 1 year later, we see this arm coming out of a mirror, obviously, and most likely being Mirror Master or someone along those lines. And he actually goes up to this kind of like weird technological like podium, kind of like a thing to like hack into, and he wants to access to the Project Olympus, something that obviously we saw, right? We saw Project Olympus, that's what it was called. And he accesses the archives, right? The requested archives. And then the password is then said to be Blue Trinity. And by the way, that sounds so familiar, but I'm so lacking like knowledge in terms of comics and stuff like that. I believe it's something to do with speedsters, but for those who are a lot more knowledgeable about it than I am, I would love for you to put in the comment section below what Blue Trinity is referring to, just because I would love to know as well. I'll read your comment and make sure I figure out what that is. I'm sure one of y'all know. But yeah, so he gets access granted, retrieving some of the archives, and we actually see things. We see Wally here. We see different like visuals and kind of videos of, you have Wally. His father seems to be here as well, to an extent. Maybe the things we were seeing were a little bit different than what I expected, but we get Wally and we see his suit right here, and it looked clean. I want to say that for sure, but it seems like this is definitely kind of a cliffhanger to what's going to happen next. And you get the mirror on the wall, time to make this world fall. And yeah, that is the end of issue 1, and you don't get any more of that. But honestly, just seeing how things kind of progress throughout this issue, seeing Wally and like his life and what he's going through and all this stuff, and the way they transition from kind of present day back to a couple days ago and stuff like that, with the whole like speedster electric, it looks like electricity kind of like mind, or like kind of Speed Force kind of mind thing, which looked pretty insane, right? I mean, some of y'all probably have already read the issues, and maybe what I'm saying right now is completely incorrect, but it looked like he was kind of in his own mind going back to that time, like he was remembering it, but in a more kind of traditional sense of like it was shocking through his mind. And on top of that, we've seen how many times like speedsters and other people get hurt around others, and Absolute Flash just really proves the entire time that really being a speedster isn't all good. It's not all amazing. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. But I will admit, Absolute Flash is looking really, really awesome, and I think it's really, really amazing to check out. So I will be trying my best to cover it as I go along. There's a good chance that I just read it on my own, and then maybe eventually I make another video coming up. But yeah, I know I'm late. Trust me, I get it every single time with these. I'm always late. If you guys have any comic suggestions that maybe are going to come out pretty soon or in the coming months that I should be looking out for, and that I could try my best not to be late on, I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below. Also, would love to hear what you guys have to say about Absolute Flash. Do you think it's worth me reading issue 2, issue 3, whatever's to come? I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below. And yeah, show some love, like, sub, all that good stuff. And yeah, I don't have much else to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you enjoyed this video, YouTube believes you'll enjoy this one, so might as well go check it out.